So what would I say if I was addressing the Senate during final arguments of the impeachment trial? Well, it would probably go something like this. Mr. Chief Justice, members of the Senate, House impeachment managers, I'm honored to deliver these closing arguments in front of you today, and not necessarily for the reasons you might think. We should all be asking ourselves, why have the House of Representatives pushed this impeachment without properly investigating it, without properly proving their case or following the procedures that have been established during past impeachment processes as to why they would do such a thing? Is it for the good of the American people and our Constitution? Is it to protect the country from an evil, corrupt president and administration who are only out to enrich themselves? Is it because they don't like him or his policies? While these arguments have some validity, it has nothing to do with why they have continually pushed this process. Members of the Senate, I would submit to you that these people have something to hide, and that's why they have pushed this unconstitutional impeachment before you today. A lot has been said throughout this entire process about Hunter and Joe Biden. We should all be considering what hasn't been said. Sure, the House managers would have you believe that corruption on the Biden's part has already been investigated, when anyone who has taken the time to look into it knows that this is not true. But what's not being said here? What's not being said is what every innocent person says when an investigation is looming and they know they did nothing wrong. I have nothing to hide. Go ahead and investigate. Never once have you heard the House Democrats make that claim. Never once have you heard Hunter or Joe Biden make that claim. If there's really nothing to it, as the House managers would try and have us all believe, why has that not been the position taken? I'll tell you why. Because they don't want an investigation. Because they know that there is corruption. And they know that it will potentially lead through the entire Congress, no less here to the Senate itself. That's why they spied on the Trump campaign from the beginning. That's why they said that they were going to impeach him before he even took office. And that's why the Russia investigation was spawned, in order to cover up their own crimes. And when the president got too close, they finally went ahead with impeachment. And subverted the very process to successfully negotiate the impeachment process as laid out by the founders. Using no less Alexander Hamilton's own words to help them negotiate the process, subvert it to accomplish their goal and keep the American people's eyes in a different direction from where they should be focused. On the corruption that obviously centers in the Ukraine, because as soon as President Trump decided he wanted to look into it, that set all of this off. Nancy Pelosi herself had said on several occasions, unless impeachment is a bipartisan process, it wasn't worth doing. and several other things along the way, leading the American people and public to believe that they wanted it to be a fair process. That was until the subject of the Ukraine came up. That changed everything and set off a firestorm within the House of Representatives and the Democratic Party that has led to the quickest impeachment in American history, with the strangest rules made up to do so along the way. The House managers have made the argument that they're fighting for the Constitution of the United States, when nothing could be further from the truth. They're fighting to protect themselves, because an investigation into Joe and Hunter Biden opens up the whole can of worms. So I would call on you to vote to acquit the president of these bogus charges and have the courage to open the investigations that they don't want. The very investigations that they should be inviting if nothing was really done wrong, if no corruption existed. There's more than enough circumstantial evidence to at least raise an eyebrow about what was going on in the Ukraine with Joe and Hunter Biden. And there's more than enough circumstantial evidence to warrant investigations into the very people who have said they've done nothing wrong, and should be inviting investigations based on that. Because that's what people do when they've done nothing wrong. Something the House managers haven't called for, the Bidens themselves haven't called for, which should be yet another red flag to everyone, proving that this needs to be looked into, that something's wrong here, and someone, meaning the House of Representatives and the House managers and the people involved with the corruption, are trying to cover up. So I look forward to the United States Senate doing something the U.S. Congress didn't do, defending the right of the executive branch and standing up for the U.S. Constitution and the people who voted them into office. Because there's something fishy going on here, and it certainly isn't the actions of the president.